Welcome back to the Self Trust Solution Podcast. Today's conversation is especially meaningful to me because my guest, Jane Pilger, is someone whose work I respect deeply. She's been a guest on my podcast before, and I've been on her podcast, spoken in her community, and watched her work evolve in powerful ways. And today she's here sharing her own story of self trust. Jane is a master certified coach who helps people understand why they do what they do so they can rebuild trust with themselves and create change that actually lasts. After a 25-year struggle with binge eating and perfectionism, Jane learned that real transformation doesn't happen at the level of willpower or behavior. It happens under the hood, in the subconscious patterns and protective parts shaping how we think, feel, and respond. Her work is deeply compassionate, nervous system informed, and grounded in helping people come back into relationship with themselves. And in this season 3 conversation, we're talking less about credentials and more about the choices she's made along the way. The moment she trusted her internal yes, even when it went against conventional advice. The places she's still trusting herself now. Jane, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I have very mutual respect for your work, and it's just so fun to have a conversation with somebody else who is, on the trust journey and just how really thinking about the impact and how much it will help all the listeners. So I'm
Yeah.
just honored to be here.
Oh, thank you. And you've been doing powerful work for a long time, but you're kind of in a new season with your story. So when you
Yeah.
think about self-trust in your life, what feels like a defining through line, if you will?
Ooh, a defining through line of self trust in my life. I would say I can really look back and see a story of somebody telling me, you know what, you would be really good at this, or I think you
Mm,
should do this, and then kind of taking it in and being like, yeah, I would. I would be good at that. Okay, I could do that. I think specifically like the first time it happened probably was in college. And the college, what I was doing in college, I got my accounting degree. And then my dad was in real estate and he said, you could come work for me and you could come help me. And I was like, yeah, yeah, I could do that. But there was never really a what do I want for me? And
mm,
so it really was the things that people said I would be good at and the things that I went off and did, I was good at them and I did have success at them, but there was always kind of this thing missing that it just I wasn't doing meaningful work. It was like, yeah, okay, I have success and I can do these things and I do them well, but it just wasn't fulfilling to me.
mm,
And then when and through all of this, I'm going through binge eating, I'm struggling with binge eating, I'm trying to stop, and I'm really telling myself, if I ever figure this out, I want to help other people so that maybe there could be some way that they don't have to struggle and suffer as much as I did. And so as I came on the journey to figuring it out, then getting coached, then this was, I think, kind of like a first self-trust moment of, I really wanted to do this. I wanted to grow my business. I wanted to start a business in coaching and leave the accounting and real estate world. But I had done so much there and I, kind of had this name and reputation and whatever. But I really had to trust, no, this is what I want. This is what I want for myself. This feels like meaningful, impactful work. And so I
yeah.
think that was kind of the through line. And then what's been really interesting, even as you asked the question, I'm like, oh, I can see where I still kind of fall into that pattern of somebody else then. And now I'm into a new business and a new figuring out how do you even be a coach or have clients or, share your story and all of that. And of course, we're always looking to other people for wisdom and for insight, but I can really see similarly, oh, you should do this. Oh, try this. Oh, you'd be really good at this. And then I think, oh, yeah, I would. I could do that.
Mm,
And then kind of going along and being like, why am I doing this? I'm not sure that this really feels meaningful or impactful. Certainly parts of it absolutely do. But I was talking to somebody a week or so ago about my business and I was telling him, I said, I absolutely do things that I love in my business and in my life. There's no doubt I do that. And I also do a lot of other things that I think either somebody has told me I should do, or
Mm,
I think I should do, or I think this would be helpful for me, but it's not necessarily from that like inner, this lights me up. This is something that I really want to do. So I find myself, one of my challenges is that I find myself with too much on my plate, which is kind of ironic because I literally used to have too much on my plate. And now it's like I figuratively end up putting too much on my plate because I am pursuing both the things that I love and, oh, you'd be good at this. Oh, you could try this. Oh, maybe somebody else is doing this. So maybe I could do that too. So that's kind of been an interesting, if I really look back at just my entire professional career, it's
mm.
been interesting to see that through line.
Yeah, I think it's very you bring up such a great point because we we can do lots of things. And when we can easily get into the, "Oh, I should do this because I'm really good at it," and then we lock ourselves into it because, not only am I good at it, now I've spent so much time in it, I should keep going. We
Mhm.
butt up
Yes.
against those. And it almost and you tell me, to me, it seems like it requires even more self-trust to leave the things we are good at to pursue what we want,
Yes.
right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. It really does require this self-trust because I even notice myself, like, looking to other people of, "Well, is this okay, or what do you think?" Like, I have a very clear inner kind of guidance and an inner knowing where I want to go, but because it's a little contrary to what I've been told or what I've heard, then there comes that little bit of, "Well, is kind of that search for the right thing or the right
Mhm.
answer, which I think gets so many of us, myself included, into, I was going to say into trouble, but into areas where we're not necessarily trusting what our insides are telling us because we're kind of looking or thinking there's only one right way. And so if I'm not doing it right, then therefore, I must be doing it wrong. When they're really, like you said, there's so many ways
Yeah,
to
and
do
if you're
anything.
gonna search for one right way, look for the right way for you, not the right way for
Yes.
someone else,
Yes, so much, yes.
right? So just define it. I
Yes,
talk a lot about that with perfectionism, like,
love
a
that.
lot of people will tell you don't reach for perfect. I'm just gonna invite you to define it first, then at least you know what you're reaching.
So good.
It's
Yeah.
so much kinder. Now, earlier in your work, there was a lot of external messaging, and you've talked about that a little bit so far, but like how this work should look, maybe
Mm.
focusing on behavior or food outcomes and that kind of thing. Can you talk about what it was like to realize that wasn't actually aligned for you?
Yeah, it's so interesting when I really look at so many people who talk about binge eating, talk about struggles with food. It's a lot of talk about the food itself and
Yeah.
what we're eating or how much we're eating or, all of that. And it really just that part of it really didn't resonate with me. And it's like the food is important. I mean, we can't it is. I can't pretend that it's not important, but to me the food is a symptom. I like to see it as, it's like a light on the dashboard. It's telling us something is going on under the hood, and really what we need to do is get under the hood and see what's happening under the hood to make the lights go on
Mm,
in the first place, and it's like I felt that just knowing in my bones, but at the same time, it was like, "Oh, this feels kind of weird because I'm not talking about food a lot." I actually, the subtitle of my book is, it's called, The Binge Eating Breakthrough: Why Food Isn't the Problem and What Really Is. And it kind of goes into then the reasons, the things that are under the hood that make the food behaviors, come up in the first place. But I think that was really kind of one of the first places that I was like, really had to just trust myself rather than looking at what other people are doing kind of in the space or what they're talking about or even what people are asking about. It's like, no, actually, we got to get under the hood because that's where the permanent and lasting change happens, not
yeah.
just when we change what we're doing without changing kind of the underlying things that are causing us to make those decisions in the first place.
Absolutely. So what did trusting yourself look like when you shifted toward nervous system and inner work towards that, looking under what the hood?
Yeah. I think it really was just really tuning inwards, tuning into, okay, what does this feel like inside? What does this feel like in my body? Like really getting to know what is my yes and what is my no. And what's interesting is what I've discovered about myself is my yes is very clear. My no is not as clear. Now, sometimes my no is very clear, but there's this in between place where it's kind of like, maybe? And I can convince myself in that in between place that that means yes, and it really doesn't. And so it's
Mhm.
taken me kind of like really exploring or saying yes to those maybe things to then realize that was a no. And now in hindsight, I can see, that kind of gray, uncertain place in the middle is for me is actually a no. So I think really kind of tuning in and getting really clear on what is yes for me, what is
Mhm.
no for me, and what is maybe just not now. And then really being okay with slowing down to only act on the yes. And I mean, to be 100% clear, I am very much a work in progress in this. Um, but that really has been it for me is like, can I slow myself down enough and
Mm.
really respond to my very clear yes? And that is this year going into 2026, my goal for myself, my filter. I have 2 filters for all of my decisions, and this is so different than anything I've ever done. But my word of the year is simplify. So I want it to be simple. If it's simple is filter number 1. Filter number 2 is, does it light me up? Is there that internal yes? And those are the only things I'm gonna act on. And if I don't have that internal yes, there's kind of like that unsure, I don't know, maybe I'm trying to convince myself to do it. I'm really gonna challenge myself to either not do it or let whatever it is that I'm currently doing, give myself permission to let it go. So
Mm.
it's gonna be it'll be interesting. It's very different than anything I've done before.
I love it. I wonder if that, sort of gray area, the maybe, is sometimes fueled by what you mentioned before when you think, "I could do that." I
Yeah.
wonder if "could" is a participating culprit in that gray area of it's
But it's certainly possible. It's like I could do that, or I think it depends on, am I deciding if this is something I'm going to do,
yeah.
or is it something that I'm already doing that isn't really lighting me up in terms of, do I want, like, am I ready? Am I willing to let it go? And that one is maybe a little more challenging, right? If you've kind of put time or effort or energy into something and it's not lighting you up anymore, but do I let it go? I'm not sure. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's definitely something I'm playing with.
Tell me about this lighting up though,
Mm,
for someone because not everything has to light us up, right?
that's right, for sure. Yes.
So, what do you define as that?
It's a good question. And again, I'm in the early phases of that. But I
Mhm.
would say it's really when I'm going to make a decision. It's probably a combination of lighting me up and, like, resonating. I love the term resonate. Like, does this resonate with me in terms of, just internally, my internal felt sense, but also resonate with what I know I want for my life or what my values are, whatever it is, like, just that internal, does this feel like it is in alignment with me, or does it not? And so I think even, like, lighting me up is kind of like almost that difference between, like, being open, like, open-hearted, kind of like that open, more expansive energy versus something that's a little more kind of, like, tight and constrict. And I talk about this a lot with my clients, is really tuning in and paying attention to how your body responds to things. Is it like this open, I'm, like, pulled towards it,
Mhm.
or is it something that I'm like, "Ooh, I'm not sure. Maybe I have worry or fear or doubt or uncertainty," whatever it is, and really just paying attention. Now, worry, doubt, and fear, they come with being human and going after things we've never done before, for sure. But like, just paying attention to the overall kind of energy. Am I in open, expansive energy? If I can be in open and expansive energy for the majority of my day, that's amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. So you've been very honest about being told to stick to one niche
Yeah.
and at the same time feeling called towards something broader. Can you share what that's led to?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. So really up until now, my focus has all been about food struggles, feeling out of control around food, binge eating, and I love it. I love this work. I am definitely I am not looking to leave the world of food struggles and binge eating. Um and at the same time there is this part of me that just knows I don't want that to be like, not even that I don't want it. It's like that's not going to be the only thing and the only place that I work and that I focus on. And
Mm,
so I've really been kind of this is something that I've just recently been really thinking about what are kind of like the bigger pieces, the bigger patterns that I see in the work with food that impact every human really. And so much of that work is really nervous system work, just really understanding your nervous system, how to know if where you are in your nervous system, how to navigate your nervous system when you get triggered, when you get activated, when you're, kind of behaving in ways that you don't understand or you don't prefer, you don't like, really understanding what that's about.
mm,
And then not only the nervous system, but also kind of the more of what happens underneath the hood. So we have the nervous system for sure, and then there's also a lot that happens under the hood with subconscious patterns, are parts, when you have like a part of me really wants to do this and a part of me wants to do this. And then maybe there's another part of me who wants to do something else. So I do a lot of work around really kind of getting to know and understanding and working with your parts because happens in our subconscious is the vast majority of what leads us to do the things that we do over and over again. So like it's like 90% of how we show up and our patterns come from the subconscious. And so if we can then kind of work with what's happening under the hood and work with the subconscious patterns, then we can actually change those in really remarkable ways that we can't do just with kind of cognitive behavioral therapy, just thinking about changing our thoughts and our perspective and reframing things. So what I'm doing now is I have a new offering that is called The Gathering. And again, this goes with my simplify word. It's
mm,
like I wanted to create a place that was a powerful presence and a powerful experience, but also very simple. And so the gathering is really about coming together and creating a safe place. One of the things I think I have a kind of a gift for is creating a safe environment, helping other nervous systems feel safe and regulated kind of in
mm,
my presence. So, to create a safe place to come and gather and learn how to slow down, how to listen to your own internal wisdom. I think so many of us are running around trying to do all of the things. We are trying to listen to all of the podcasts, get all of the advice. We have all of these ideas. We're trying to do so many things. And really, your own internal wisdom, like knowing what your yes is, only comes from slowing down and being with yourself and getting those messages. But sometimes it's hard. It's like so many of us, we know we need to slow down, but we just can't. Or it's like, well, I will later, but I have this, 25 item to-do list to get through today. So later, later, later. So I wanted to create a place where you could come and be guided to slow down and to learn how to listen to your own internal voice, the messages from you. And that's really what the gathering will be. It will be a monthly, one time a month experience for 1 hour where I'll guide you through some guided methods to calm your nervous system down, to learn to listen to yourself. And then I will also give, here's some things that I'm working on in my own life or that I'm seeing in my clients, whether it's my clients in my groups, that you could apply to yourself as far as, really getting to know getting under your own hood. It's how do you help get under your own hood to start really understanding why you aren't taking action or doing the things that you need to do or would help you get towards whatever it is that you're working towards. We all have these things that kind of prevent us from doing that. And if we can slow down and really listen to our own internal wisdom, we'll get so much there that you can't get from listening to a podcast or asking somebody else their advice or what they've done or their opinion. So that's what's coming, and I'm super excited about it.
Like, it sounds like a physical manifestation of my book, The Inner Room, which is really fun.
Yes, yes. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the internal conversation like for you when you realized this wasn't just this side idea, but it was a real pull for you to
Mm.
create?
Yeah, I think when I realized it was a pull, like, yes, like, this was a
Mm,
yes, like, I want to do this, um, it was it was actually pretty quick. It was like, "All right, let's go." Like, I had a lot
right.
of energy to go and to put it together and and what's been fun is when I talk about it, so many people are like, "Wow, that sounds amazing. I could use that. I know other people who could use that. I wanna share that with other people." And so just kind of the energy behind it, it feels really good.
Mm,
Now, I will say, there is still a little, like, I'm still working on okay, how do I navigate kind of being again, I don't wanna get rid of the binge eating and the food focus, but I also want it to be not the only thing that I do or that I'm known for. So I'm still in the process of what does
yeah.
that look like? And so there for sure is I'm in the process of trusting it will all come together, trusting. I notice a part of me that's like, we got to get this figured out like right now. It's
Mm,
actually we don't. Like we have time. And so it's been interesting to kind of watch the places where I really am in full trust around it, and then the times where, I see myself either kind of like pushing or not sure or wanting to ask somebody else. Um, so it's interesting to just watch and
yeah,
be a fascinated observer about my own inner world.
absolutely. And what a fun, I mean, way to actually experience it for yourself. What you're inviting other people into in the gathering is
Yes.
to really like seek and access what I call the inner room, your inner wisdom, step into it a
Yes.
little bit more.
Yes.
And then when you do want to get outside input, you're doing it to support any gaps that you recognize
Yes.
in your own inner wisdom. And that just makes it so much more powerful.
Yes. Yes.
So,
And when you do seek outside input, you'll also know what resonates and what doesn't.
yeah.
It's like what is for you and what's not for you. Having that kind of like that internal knowing and that internal dialogue and kind of like it's almost like what is the internal language with of yourself.
Mm,
It's like learning how to kind of decipher your own language, and I think so many of us have been completely disconnected from it, or we're so tuned into everything else outside
mm,
between all of the videos and the podcasts and the
yeah.
books and everything else that we don't stop to take that time.
Yeah. The lobby is real. That's what I refer to all the other noise that
Yeah.
it's beautiful. There's lots of amazing things in the lobby, and we are gonna live like you talk about the subconscious, 90% of the time we are mostly gonna live in the lobby. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's just creating that intentional stepping into, and it sounds like the gathering
Yeah.
is gonna be a beautiful monthly invitation to do that.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is kind of a tender and very real chapter for you. This whole like
Yes.
simplifying and diversifying, which
Yes.
could be seen as contradictory.
Yep. That's
And
right.
yet,
That's right. Yes.
right?
Yes. Yep. And that's why it actually I think it comes at a perfect time because it really does challenge me. How do I diversify while keeping it simple and
Mhm.
while making sure that everything is something that feels like that expansive, yes, this is what I want versus either what I think or whatever, like really keeping all of
Yeah.
those in mind. So it for sure, I mean, this is very much real time, real time work, but it feels very, as far as trusting, like I, it feels so right on, that I am exactly where I need to be
Mhm.
and that this will unfold in whatever way it will unfold. And so it's, like I was I was reflecting on the year, and one of kind of the lessons in my year last year that I was really reflecting on is this invitation to hold on to the vision of whatever it is you have for yourself, but don't attach to the how or the
Mhm.
when. So
Yep.
I'm really kind of doing that now, is like really having like this vision, but not being concerned about the timeline or exactly how it's going to happen. So yeah, it's like really just living it real time. And I know that whatever I learn through it will be so powerful for then me to share with other people. And I think that's so much of the work that we do as coaches, right? Is we just take our own learnings, our own insights, our own experiences, and we go out and we help others who are going through something similar. And they're like, I I feel so not alone. I feel seen. It's so
Mhm.
nice to know that I'm not the only one who is going through this.
Yeah. And I think an important piece that you demonstrate here that's important for all, really everyone. I'll say entrepreneurs because that's mostly who we're speaking with to now, but entrepreneurs and leaders is knowing that it all generates information. And that's what we're seeking. We're seeking information because information fuels activation.
Yes.
And so if we make whatever we do, we don't strangle. I talk about that a lot, just what you were
Mm,
missing. Hold hold the what you want very like tightly. It's yours. Like consider it yours already. But hold the how and the journey lightly. Let it unfold, learn from it. It's going to
yes.
happen exactly the way it's supposed to if you're not trying to manhandle it for lack of a
Right.
better
Yes. 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 And for me, then it's like if I can keep that second, and this is part of why that second filter for me of does it light me up will
Mhm,
keep me in the lightness of it because I know myself and I have this tendency to like, let's go. I can kind of drive and push and kind of overdo, overwork, overthink,
mhm.
overcomplicate, over all of the things, which also brings in the simplify, right? So it's
Yeah,
like if I can keep this simple and light and fun and something I really truly enjoy, it's like, ah, already my body is like, yes, this is what we need. And who knows exactly what it's gonna look like or how it's gonna unfold or when, but that's I mean, that's part of the fun of it all too.
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
it's all part of it, and it's just beautiful to get out there and do new things that are gonna help more people, I think, because that's really what light I'd say all humans up. I'm probably overgeneralizing, but I really do think we're made for service, and no matter what
Mm,
way that you are serving, whether you are, directly serving another human as we do, or whether it's through something that you make or create, we are serving, and I think that's what we're made for, and so it lights us up when we are fulfilling that mission, if you will.
mm, yeah.
I would love to hear any feedback from anyone listening who disagrees with that, just because 'cause I'm purely curious, I don't mind being disagreed with, but I think
I
that's
I
part
love
of it.
that idea, like made for service, that we are made for service. And if I really think about when I think about kind of what lights me up, the word that often comes to me is making an impact. Like I really
Yeah,
want to make an impact on whoever I encounter. But that definitely goes hand in hand. But
Yeah.
I love that. I love that frame, made for service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think made for service or impact, whatever, because if you think about it, when you're thinking about yourself and who you are and who you aren't in so many ways, that starts to feel so heavy. But when you're thinking
Mhm.
about helping others or doing
Yeah.
something that impacts someone else,
Yeah.
automatically you feel lighter. You
Yes.
feel better.
Absolutely. Yes. I love to think about in terms of impact. It's like I love to think. I was just sharing with my small group today, talking about my vision for my business in terms of, like that bigger vision is having a wide and lasting impact. And to me, wide means like numbers. I have clients literally all over the world, which is so fun to think about.
Mhm.
Not to mention when you think about, as you know, right, podcast listeners who are all over the world. And then lasting in terms of not only like maybe there's one thing that I say that just stays with somebody for a really long time, or somebody makes significant changes because of something that they've heard or they've read or they've experienced or whatever. And then the changes, then the ripple effect of that happens within their life or their family or their partner
Mhm.
or whatever, like really just like that lasting
Yeah.
impact. It's
Huge.
it's powerful to think about,
And we have no idea how far it goes.
right? Yes.
It's fun when we get to know a little bit of it, when you get, that you have like 100 new people in New Zealand listen to your podcast, or you get the feedback on your book that it like really they're gifting it to 10 people because it made such an impact. Those are really fun, but we don't even know how far
Yeah,
it goes.
exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I think about that even like you're serving food to someone and somehow that speaks to them either culturally or I don't know, in so many ways
Mhm.
and that how they go out and use that to impact someone else. Everything we do can be, can make an impact on someone, and we'll never know what that fully looks like. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
And it so much goes back to that energy, right? The energy that you bring to it. And I think about this for myself. Even going to the grocery store, right? It's like you can absolutely have an impact on people at the grocery store or
Mhm.
wherever you are. And it's like really paying attention to what energy are you bringing into anything, whether it's the work that you're doing, whether it is just out with other people. I can think of one specific time being at Costco and I was in a rush and I was in a hurry and I was, like not in my best self. And I remember somebody made a comment as I was like, kind of rushing by. And I was like, oh, like my energy, like this is not just an inner world. My energy shows and has an impact on other people. And it's kind of one of those like eye opening things for me of, ooh, uh, uh, yeah, it was just,
Yeah.
I don't, yeah, yeah.
It can be like what someone has said before. I've heard like bad body odor.
Mm,
Like it really
yes,
we think no one notices, but it really
yes,
is there and
yes. It's
people
very
are noticing.
obvious. Yeah.
I had an experience of that recently where actually I was not in a good place at all. I was having kind of a rough day and I went in to get a coffee somewhere at a coffee shop. But I go there really often. So I know people
Yeah.
and just getting that like really happy, like, hey, darling. And I'm like, oh, hey, Miss Jackie. When I left, I knew that my interaction didn't match the way I felt.
Mm,
But in a great way, like, in the way that said, "Okay, it's okay that I can feel bad and I don't have to spread that, but I also can let someone else's kindness and their
mhm.
good energy help me lift my own a little bit too."
Yeah, you could receive it. Yeah,
I could receive it and I could,
yeah,
and it that particular day, I went right back into the funk, but
sure,
to be
sure.
truly transparent, but I did physically stop and notice and took
Mm,
stock of that, about
mm,
how it meant that I have so much power to be able to still put out what I'm not intentionally feeling at the time,
yes.
give myself so much grace, and to see how that energetic, exchange could happen in such a
Y
positive way.
It's so powerful to really think about that, like, from the lens of trust. I'm thinking about there have definitely been times in the past when I have come to a coaching call about binge eating, and I have had a binge. There was a period of time, especially kind of early on when I was, starting my business. Talk about nervous system, my binging return. I'm still coaching people, but binging, there was a lot there. But I can remember a couple of examples, very specific examples of, I was in a bad place, not good at all after a binge, but I was able to show up, to
Mhm.
have, this energy to be able to support other people and to be as far as a trust perspective, it's like to be able to see, "Oh, I can do that." And that's I wasn't trying to, gaslight myself or whatever, but
Right.
it shows that you've got so much more authority
Mhm.
over how you show up and how you respond than we think we do. It's like
Mhm.
it's so easy to kind of like get pulled into it and think, "Oh, I just have to kind of like be in
Yeah.
whatever, the shame or the judgment or whatever." But my husband actually has commented a couple of times. He's like, "Wow." As somebody who has seen like the direct difference of, okay, I've seen you in your like shame, judgment, and then I've seen you just boom when you go into a call in front of somebody else that you would never even know. And it's from a trust perspective, it's like actually interesting that I have enough kind of self agency
Mhm.
to do that.
Yeah. And I love that you brought up that it's not gaslighting because there is a difference, right? I would
Yes.
tell you before this powerful self-trust work for myself, I've been really transparent about the way that showed up for decades, and I would have shown up in that coffee shop and put on a really big smile and, talked to her and, but I would have left feeling lower about myself, about how
Mm,
fake I was and how I
yes.
couldn't, um, like I'm not, authentic, and now I have to always be on a show and I have to prove that I'm some sort of like positive, always happy person. And it's just not that way anymore. So there's the energy behind it
Yes.
too that
Yes.
changes when you're trusting yourself, because then you can both show up because you authentically want to show up in that space, receive and exchange, energy in a way while honoring that I'm not having a great day and that's okay. It doesn't make me a bad person.
Yes.
It's an evolution, and I it's so good to bring that up because we wanna make sure that it's so interesting. So much of what we do is the same with self-trust as without self-trust, but it's what's behind it. The fuel behind
Mm,
it and how we
yes.
treat ourselves on the other side of it is what changes.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yes. Yes. And then in these instances, like we're talking about, right? You're having a bad day. I've just had a binge or whatever. The component that happens, I think, when you have trust in yourself is to then really like be with that emotion, process that emotion, like let it
Mhm.
actually be with that experience instead of trying to get away from it or, just
Yeah.
put on a happy face or whatever. And I think when you don't have that trust that you can navigate it, that you can, that it has so much wisdom for you and that it won't be this way forever. Like that whole experience totally changes too.
Yeah. Reminding yourself that everything is a verdict. It's not like a life
Mhm.
sentence.
Yes. Yes.
So, if someone listening is feeling overwhelmed or scattered or disconnected from themselves right now, what do you want them to know about rebuilding trust?
I would say if somebody's feeling overwhelmed, scattered, not really trusting themselves, I would say give yourself the gift of slowing down in any amount, any amount. So, can you give yourself 5 minutes? 5 minutes of just going out for a walk by yourself, no podcast, no nothing, and just give yourself some space. The
Mhm.
biggest gift I think we can give ourselves is space and like uncluttered space. So maybe that's a little bit of space on your calendar. Maybe it's just space without all of that consumption. It's really surprises me it doesn't surprise me how much people are consuming because, everything that's out there is designed for us to want to just keep consuming. But what's been really interesting, and I didn't realize this, until working with a group of people, what fascinates me is how many people sleep with the TV on, like,
Mm.
constantly, 24 hours a day, the TV is on, and it's like, how can you hear yourself if it's 24 hours a day, somebody else's words, somebody else's stories, somebody else's news or whatever is coming in to you. So,
Someone else's
have
energy, someone else's.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
Yes.
love
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. So just give yourself some
Yes,
space. Just the gift of
totally.
space.
That matters so much, and it could be as simple as stepping into the inner room. If you wanna go and check out the inner room practice, it's free at theselftrustcoach.com. Do that. It's a great way just to start delineating between. We're not gonna leave the lobby, but we do wanna intentionally step into the inner room, and so there's a nice little way to do that you can do it. How do you personally know, Jane, when you're back in alignment with yourself?
Yeah. I mean, really, it's the felt sense. It's I can tell I actually have this is a hobo sphere. And I use this a lot with my clients as an example of energy. So it's like when I'm out of alignment, it's tight. There's nowhere to go. There's worry, there's anxiety, what do I do? But when I'm open, when I'm more in alignment, it's like, oh, then things can move. There's space, right? Again, so
Mhm.
it's the energy behind it, and I can feel the difference between this and this. And so when I'm like this and more open, the better, then I know I'm in alignment. And if this, then I know I'm not.
I love that. It's such a powerful visual because it really makes me think of how our tendency when we're tight and closed, especially if we're tight and closed around a problem or an overwhelming state or whatnot, all we can see is the problem.
Yes.
There's literally no space around it. And when you're expanding that, we get to like see a bigger picture,
Yes. Yes.
get to breathe. And I think that that's a great example of creating space, intentionally creating some space, whether it's taking a walk outside. I know, I'll never forget, there's a couple of clients who have shared with me, we create comfort plans, and one of them, it was like, "Put your feet in grass," and I'm like, "Okay, uh, that's something that really works for people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it." I always say I'm gonna do that, but create some kind of grounding
Yes.
space for yourself so that you can, gosh, release that tightness. Even looking at that visual, what else I love about it is it really like, I feel tighter when I see you close it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
It's almost like shoulders hunch forward. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
physically, and then
Yep.
you just kinda wanna open up, and that's one of my comforts is I like to just lean back and put my shoulders down.
Mm.
It's super helpful. It's a simple 2-second grounding move that
Yes.
works for
Yes.
me, so Um, anybody out there that's looking for a couple examples, we just gave them, and you can get your own sphere to.
Yes, Hobosphere, you can get it on Amazon. I actually have several clients who have bought their own. It's kind of you can kind of use it as a fidget if you want,
Yeah.
if you need to just kinda have something to do, but it's such a powerful reminder, and you really can feel the difference. And so then what you can do is notice when you are feeling more open and you feel that space, then get curious. What did I do to get here? What
Mhm,
did I do? Like, when do I notice that I feel more spacious? Maybe it's right after my morning walk or right after I've done whatever, or I have a nice conversation with a friend or a colleague. Whatever it is, really notice, just check in with yourself kind of throughout the day and really pay attention to the times that you do feel that space and that, like,
mhm.
that little bit of relief. Then ask, what did I do to get here? Because you did something.
Right.
So if you can figure that out, then you can start putting together that comfort plan, that plan to, oh, okay, this is helpful. And so how can I make sure that I'm doing that for myself on a regular basis?
It also reminds you that you do have that agency, that power, that ability to shift your spaciousness, your openness, and your closing. which I love because it becomes choice. You get to choose. You get to choose when it's close and tight and it doesn't make you wrong,
Yep.
but it means that you can be aware of it so that when you're ready, you can choose to expand and
Yes.
open.
Yes. I love that.
Jane, I'm so grateful for this conversation and for the way you continue to model that self trust isn't about having it all figured out. It's always a work in progress. We are always, it is a practice and it's about
Absolutely.
listening and responding and tuning into yourself. And it's so lovely to see how your work is evolving through that, how you evolve through that. So, for anyone listening who wants to know more, tell us how they can find out more about you and the gathering.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I would say two places to find me. If you are a person who struggles with food at all, I would say check out my podcast. It's called Binge Eating Breakthrough. You do not have to struggle with binge eating specifically. If you struggle with food in any way, check out the podcast. Lots of great episodes there for you. And if you're interested in the gathering, like, ooh, yeah, I would love to learn how to, slow down, listen to
Yeah.
myself. You can check out janepilger.com/gather for more information.
So exciting. It's such a great reminder that lasting change doesn't come from doing more or trying harder. It actually comes from understanding yourself more deeply. But to do that, we have to tune in and listen to ourselves. So every now and then, at least, maybe cut out that noise. Make sure that you're listening to yourself as much as you're listening to others and trust what's true for you, even when it doesn't match the template, as Jane has so beautifully shown us that's possible today. So if this conversation resonated with you, you can find Jane's work through the Binge Eating Breakthrough, her podcast of the same name, and then her upcoming work with The Gathering. All the links will be in the show notes. If you have a self-trust story to share, I'd love to hear it. And if you're ready to create one, I'd love to help you claim it. So visit theselftrustcoach.com or check the show notes for details and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next story. I'll see you next time on the Self Trust Solution podcast. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.